Welcome to Nature of Code in Rust and GGEZ, exercise 1.5. Create a simulation of a car or runner that accelerates when you press the up key and brakes when you press the down key. So I don't necessarily have any kind of like car image, and I don't want this to be a big deal of like bringing in an image to GGEZ because it's unfortunately not as trivial as it might sound. So we're just going to stay with this circle and have it accelerate, and we can have it move upwards and downwards from the middle of the screen as it's like, moving around. Now I've decided some minor changes to the repository. I've just decided to get rid of the template, and instead I'm just going to be copying the previous exercise or example that I did and sort of like go from there. And so it will mutate and update over time. The reason why I'm doing that is because it was getting to be less and less easy, and because that, a better chance of bugs just sort of popping up from constantly adding, making our change in a video to the exercise or example, and then off camera redoing that in the template. So this way, whatever you see is what I'm doing. I only have to do it once. And with that, let's get into the exercise. So we want, let's first start out by taking a look at what we have right now. This is exactly the same thing as previous. We have our mover, and it's just sort of like constantly moving down and to the right. What we want to do is apply a acceleration forwards whenever we have like a key down. So first thing that I want to do is head into our mover class here. And let's, in our constructor, have it that we don't have an acceleration. This is just going to be a zeroed out. 0.0, 0.0. If we rerun this, we won't be moving at all. Our car, so to say, will just sit here not doing anything. All right, so that works for us. Now we want to determine when we're updating if we're pressing a key. So in update here, we can, well, it's a good question. Should this update be concerned with that it's accelerating, or should that be something that happens in the main library over here? I'm thinking we want to do this in the main library. So we want to check to see if, we're updating now. It's a good question. I can pass the context into update, and then it will handle any keys on its own. And perhaps we should do that, like handle input. That could be another function that we just arbitrarily add on to the bottom here. So if we have a pub function handle input, we're going to bring it a mute self, and we are going to need the context. We're probably going to need to return a game result. Okay, so we need to find out if the keyboard is down. So GGEZ has an input keyboard, and we can, yes, right here, is key pressed. So let's go ahead and run this. We pass it the context, and then we have to pass it a key code. So key code, we want, and this is going to return a Boolean. Okay, so let's go ahead and just throw this inside of an if statement. So if this is, it's at the bottom here, just return an okay, just to make this a little bit happier for right now. If this is pressed, I'm going to go ahead and replace these with use. Okay, so if key is pressed, key code up, then I want to set our acceleration to be something about going up. So self.acceleration, we're going to create a new vector2. I want you to be, let's see, we're not going to change the x at all. We're just going to change the y. I want you to be something like negative 0.01 maybe. And then we can't be pressing both at the same time, so we're going to do an else if is key pressed, and the context and the key code of down. Then self.acceleration is going to equal to a vector 2 new 0, and we'll do 0.01. So it'll be even force if we're pressing up or down. And with that, you know what? I don't actually need to return a game result at all, it turns out. We can go ahead and get these key codes without having to use the question mark. So let's go ahead and we're going to handle input in the main library before we do update. So self.mover, handle input, hand it the context, and let's go ahead and see where we're at here. If we run this again, if we hit up, we start moving upwards, and it's accelerating very slowly. If I release the key, it continues to move, and now if I hit the down, it should start to slow down a little bit. In fact, if I hold it down long enough, we should in fact start to go in reverse. And there we go. We're now in reverse. So we could play with those numbers, try to make it look exactly like a car, be able to accelerate really fast, really quickly. But I think the general idea is here, which is we can accelerate using keystrokes. So that's exercise 1.5. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.